Hello and welcome back. In this section, we're going to talk about element selection. And really, element selection is the culmination of all the data you've gathered. So let's actually take a look back at the steps we've completed already and kind of where we are still, I guess. We're still in the analyzing data phase at this point. So we're using all the data that we've aggregated and the quantitative and qualitative stuff that we've looked at to understand the what, and then to try to figure out the why. And then as you start working with that type of data, that's when you start picking out the type of elements you want to test on your pages. What's actually going to make a difference? So don't look at element selection as this kind of like picking random things and trying just stuff because you think it will work. You really need to dig into the data and kind of look at that qualitative stuff to figure out why something is broken and then come up with a clear course of action from there. So when you're at the element selection phase, okay, you need to ask two questions. The first one being, what are you trying to achieve? So what are you trying to get done on this page itself? And how can you achieve this? And what elements can you change to achieve this, right? And then the next thing you have to ask is, what are the potential hurdles that are depressing this converting action? So that's really the, what am I trying to achieve? And then how can I achieve it? And what's causing the problem? At the current state. All right, and a lot of people like to look towards, either their gut or their competitors or even like case studies on different sites. And we're actually gonna look at a few case studies throughout this entire section when we talk about the type of elements that you wanna work with. But I wanna warn you about a few things first. So first, let me give case studies the credit that they're due. They're great for giving you ideas. There's great sites out there. They're virtually on every testing technology or agency that does any optimization. They have their case studies there that you can take a look at. Like there's like the Unbalanced blog, Marketing Experiments, there's Which Test One. All of these are great resources, but they're great resources to a degree. They're great resources to give you ideas when you've kind of run out. You don't want to take something that worked on one page, like from one of these case studies, and automatically go, I'm going to use that for mine now. Because even if you're testing it out and you're not just implementing it blindly, you're still having that whole opportunity cost problem. So you want to make sure if you see any sort of case studies to think like, is that applicable to my demographic? Is that applicable to my problem, okay? So I really need to hammer this point home because it's very important, because I'm about to show you a lot of different case studies for different elements that I've seen that move the needle. But I want you to take those again with a grain of salt, knowing that when you see these, that you need to apply them to your own situation, okay? So here's an example. They're in the thought bubble, it's a little silly, saying, oh, they tested the hamburger icon, and I'm gonna start testing that too, even though it's, mobile traffic accounts for 1% of my current traffic, which no one really has that, but it's really just, I'm trying to prove a point here, that it doesn't make sense to run any kind of tests or any type of campaign on kind of mobile navigation if you don't have the mobile traffic to do it. So just because you saw it and thought it was interesting doesn't necessarily mean you should be working on that just yet. There's bigger fish to fry. So please, please, please only use case studies as an idea as a tool for ideas and inspiration only. And then also make sure you do apply that. I cannot stress that enough. And if that point doesn't get across right now, this entire section kind of won't make a whole lot of sense for you, because I don't want you taking an idea that I tell you and just try to blindly implement it. It needs to be an idea that then you then apply. As optimizers, we have to understand that we have to be smarter than these case studies, smarter than our text, and we have to apply these things. And the only way to do that is to stay clear of this case study trap. All right, so here are just a few of the testable elements I'll talk about today. We're gonna go through copy, images, navigation, search boxes, videos, overlays, and form elements. Okay, there's tons of different things you can also that you can test, but I've seen these more often than not make a big difference. And we're gonna go through this one by one. And in the next video, we're gonna discuss strictly copy tests, where I'll show you, what you can test and give you some clear-cut examples for inspiration only. Okay, all right, I'll see you there.